What's going on, everybody? Not here, and happy Friday night. I thought I would revisit the Scarlet and Violet booster boxes, and there's a couple reasons for that. I mean, the first of which is we're inching ever so close to these things going out of print for SV Base, Paldea Evolved, Obsidian, Paradox Rift, 151, and Paldean Fate. So, as we get closer, the box prices are starting to move up. And then, secondly, there have been some rumors of reprints. In fact, there was an extremely irresponsible thumbnail that went through one of the notification sites that was just complete and utter bullshit. Now, we'll get to that in a second. But so SV Base is at an all-time high. It's at $225. 3 selling per day. And one of the things that I did in the last one of these 11 days ago was looked at the total number of boxes, excluding Destin, that are selling per week. So we were at 91 back in May. Now we're at 41. Basically, as of right now. So that's 41 selling per day, which is where we are in the middle of vacation season, in the middle of doldrums. So the fact that things aren't selling, people are not dumping boxes on the market. In fact, there's a couple items that I've kept an eye on, and people, even if they're not selling items, they're slowly inching the price up with the market. So SV Base at 225 is going to be super interesting, and all 4 of these sets next year at this time, in my view, we could just kind of throw Paldea Evolved out because it's already there. They're all going to be sitting at $350. And I think the thing that can't be understated is just how much of this product is being destroyed on a daily basis through rip and ships, which is something that didn't really happen in Sword and Shield, at least to the extent that it's at now. Plus, you have significantly lower print runs on a lot of these things, especially as we get to the next wave, which is Temporal, Twilight, Stellar, Surging. So it's going to be super interesting to see the mechanics, because anybody trying to compare the Scarlet and Violet era here as the sets start to rotate out to Sword and Shield, quite honestly, not sure they understand the difference or really know what they're talking about, because it's just completely apples and oranges. So that being said, Paldea Evolved. So again, there's a notification website, Reddit. There's a thumbnail about reprint confirmed, and all these fucking idiots are like, oh, there's reprints, and the thumbnail had booster boxes and ETBs. It's total bullshit. So what we've seen, sleeve boosters, booster packs of Paldea Evolve show up in Targets and some big box stores. I know there have been a fairly significant amount of single pack blisters in Europe that are available. I don't know if those are fresh from distribution or if that's just an aggregation of items that have been sitting there forever. But there are no booster boxes. There's no ETBs. I've heard nothing of any reprints going through distribution. Again, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen at some point in the future. But to put out videos about reprint confirmed and use a thumbnail with booster boxes and ETBs, and then you're like, well, we saw a couple sleeve boosters at Target. Like, it's grifting at its finest. It was pretty bullshit. So I had a lot of questions on that one. That's what I know. Obsidian Flames continues to slow down a little bit here. And quite honestly, this is probably the weakest set in the era. Some people might say Stellar Crown, but Obsidian Flames, in my view, is the weakest set. Selling 3 per day. Paradox, this is up and down. So we'll see this at 210 one week. We'll see it at 225 the next week or the next day. There is a fair amount of this out there. So I think there's some ebb and flow of sellers that list on the market. And the other thing with Paldea, it's down at 340 because there's a lot of rando sellers with no feedbacks listing boxes because they probably listened to the website and the thumbnail and they got spooked. So it's the taming mindset. So moving on, Temporal Forces at 338. This box is going to hit 250 in the next week or two. This is probably the next box that's going to get to $300. In fact, it may hit $300 before Twilight Masquerade does. To be quite honest with you, Twilight Masquerade at 270, only 2 boxes selling per day. That's slowed way down. And as I mentioned in one of my videos the other day, the Mask of Ogrepon 10-pack EX box that just came out. This is a new means, in my opinion, of the Pokemon Company to get packs out of these old sets that, quite honestly, don't need significant reprints, but they could use some additional product. It's 5 packs of Temporal, 5 packs of Twilight. To my knowledge, there haven't been any EX boxes that are split 5 and 5. Most of them have a mishmash of different sets. Call it purging of whatever inventory is readily available at that point in time. So that's interesting. And then we saw the Venusaur and Bulbasaur. I don't know, whatever it is. It's the GameStop one that's going to have 5 packs of Stellar Crown, 5 packs of Surging Sparks, and then there was another one that was just spoiled yesterday, I believe, or the day before. It's Reshiram or Salamence and Reshiram, and this one is a banger. This has 5 packs of Surging Sparks, 5 packs of Journey Together. Now, the beauty of these is the MSRP, somebody corrected me, I said 60, it's actually $50. The Mask of Ogrepon you can find at $50, which is great. It's $5 a pack, which is cheaper than you're going to find pretty much anywhere else. Some of these others, I assume, are going to be a little bit above that. But it gives me a slightly higher degree of confidence as we look at buying and holding Temporal and Twilight and Stellar Crown that they may not reprint booster boxes. Because again, these are sets where the prices are increased and elevated because there's not a lot of supply. I don't think it's really a demand story, at least yet. Now, Twilight, obviously, Twilight is it's probably the 4th or 5th most popular set in Scarlet Violet on the Rip and Ship side because of the Greninja. Stellar because it has so many hits, and you have the Bulbasaur and the Squirtle. Temporal is not a big demanded item, so I think Temporal is just strictly the fact that there's not a lot of supply out there. So we have Twilight down at 270, coming down a little bit. We have Stellar Crown at 225. This is the all-time high still. Surging Sparks back at 244. What I will tell you is over the last couple days, I've seen Surging Sparks and Destined Rivals booster box start to show up at distribution again. Now, with the Surging Sparks, I believe that these are boxes from the last reprint that we got a couple weeks ago, because it's some of the distributors where, I'm getting it like a 30% discount to market. I'm not getting anywhere close to initial release. But it's great that they have them available, and quite honestly, it's their business model, and it does help to not blow everything out at once. So some of that's coming. Journey Together. So we're at 215, or I'm sorry, 220 for the enhanced, but the non-enhanced is at 250. So I kind of blended the price here. But the fact that Journey Together is moving up again, it just shows how absolutely strong this market is. And speaking about how strong, I put this in at $295. There's one box, and the boxes are at $300. So again, the value of the cards in the pack supports an inflated booster box price. Doesn't matter what any of these idiots on YouTube say. At the end of the day, if the value of the cards in the pack or in the set are elevated, the price of the booster box is going to be elevated. Now, it doesn't quite always work in the other direction. As we see Obsidian Flames, the price of the card set's pure garbage. But the boxes are inflated because we're getting to the point where it's going to rotate out. So it's very important that you kind of accept that things don't work the same way in both directions. So moving to the specialty sets. We got 151, 295. These are going to be $300 ETBs, which is, it's remarkable. And as these rotate out, they're going to go to $500 very, very quickly, because it's not just the fact that people want the packs. It's the fact that the ETBs are a collector's item right now. The Pokemon Center ETBs are a collector's item, but The regular ones are also because people just rip the shit out of these. Same with Paldean Fates. Now, we're down a little bit to 198. And I did see, and I want to touch on this very quickly. Walmart, MJ Holdings, GT Collectibles, et al. We're selling tech stickers of this. They had about 2,000 they sold yesterday on Walmart. And I was thinking, okay, well, is there a Paldean Fates reprint coming? Because generally speaking, we see the MJ Holdings of the world selling things on Walmart about a month before they hit distribution. But then they were selling Surging Sparks booster bundles, which, by the way, I've also seen Surging Sparks and Destined Rivals booster bundles coming through distribution. So I don't know if there's another wave of Surging Sparks coming on the bundle side, or if these were just older products that they've been sitting and waiting on. So, I've heard nothing about a reprint of Paldean Fates, but we'll see what happens. Back to 151. So we've seen booster bundles sell on Walmart. Most of you, some of you, may have seen the press release about they were doing it to celebrate Gen Con. But again, 151 booster bundles on Walmart, sold and fulfilled by Walmart, has traditionally been a leading indicator, meaning we are going to get a reprint of booster bundles for 151 here soon. I've kind of theorized that we're going to get some by the end of the summer, because quite honestly, it's due. The last ones came in January, February. And we probably have a summer reprint, and then we have like a holiday / January, February reprint before they go bye-bye. Now, again, a set like this, they could always go past the traditional reprint window. But, again, I'm starting to see signs that there's more of this coming because, again, MJ Holdings gets their product well before the rest of the traditional distributors do, at least over the last 9 months. So, Shroud of Fable, $72, continues to march upwards. There are like 2 listings for cases on TCG Player, and then the cases are gone. Then it's just singles. Prismatic, 110, still selling 31 a day. Well, we're going to have a bunch of inventory to work through now that we have the Sam's Club thing coming out. There's just going to be a bunch of onesies and twosies there. But it's probably time, if you're looking to start accumulating sealed ETB cases for Prismatic, and certainly sealed Pokemon Center ETB cases if you can get them, because I think they're like $800 still. You guys all see what's happening with 151. It's only a matter of time before it happens with Prismatic Evolutions. Now, it could be 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, but it's going to happen. We've all seen the movie before. We know how it ends. So, moving on to Black and White. These are both at $92, and they're holding pretty strong. I was actually surprised. I looked at the black set, and the value of the cards in the set it's holding up very good. Now, you have the Toad, the Seisma Toad or whatever. That's just absolutely insane, and that's never going to hold value. But a lot of the other cards are holding up. The SIRs for Reshiram, Jesus Christ, Zekrom it's still sitting around $200. But the black and the white, and then the red Victini, both versions, because apparently they have different numbers for white and black. They're all sitting around $450, which is, pretty amazing for something with a pull rate. I think it's 1 in 500 packs is what I've seen published a couple of different times now. But more importantly, and when I did my black and white video, I had some tool bag crucify me in chat saying, well, you're wrong. The price was already under $10 pack. The price of the packs plus tax are still sitting right around $10. And this is like the ultimate dump period. They're going to go back up, and they're just going to sit around $10. And, that's probably the fair market value of them. That's generally where these specialty sets sit, especially something that's, a little bit above what your traditional MSRP would be. And, the volume at 67 and 66, it's not bad. It's not Prismatic. I mean, Prismatic Evolutions, the first couple days after release, it was selling 200 and some ETBs a day. So it's certainly not that level of demand. But I also think that these aren't going to get that level of reprint either. So we'll see what happens. But it's a fun little set. So anyway, guys, I hope this was enjoyable. Again, SV base, Paldea's there, Obsidian, Paradox Rift. When these rotate out, they're all going to be $350 boxes. Probably next year at this point in time, these ETBs, 151, Paldean Fates, 151's probably going to be 400 bucks. Plus next year at this time, Paldean Fates is probably going to be $300-400 as well. It's time to start accumulating because we're getting a little long in the tooth. It's about to be August. And if a big reprint comes, it's phenomenal because you can sock them away. And if it doesn't, at least you have your position. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe, join the Discord. Have a great night.